Hello, welcome to the last day of week 3, God's Creation and the Foundation, part 1. So today is a very short video, and then I have a video of me walking through nature that I did last year. If you haven't heard me say it enough, this is the day because of the principle that the part 1 of the foundation, all of the things in this world are also created because of God's love, and they become a context of gifts presented to us so that we can know God more easily and make a return of God's love more readily. Return of love, our love to God more readily. So today is, you have options. To gather the graces, to look in your journal. Maybe you've been journaling the gist of what you've been learning throughout the week. You can even gather the graces for the last 3 weeks if you'd like. But I am looking at just this last week and in my journal. So you can do that. You can do a repetition of a meaningful passage from this last week. One, you can go back in my videos and do another Lectio Divina. Ignatius was really big on repetition. So we're going to do repetition a lot in this. We think, oh, I've read that before. I've even meditated deeply on it before, but God has something new for you every time. You know, his loving kindnesses are new every morning. So that pertains to scripture too. So you have that, gather the graces, or do a repetition. You can do both if you want. But one thing I've been saying all week is go for the walk and savor creation. And I've had, especially when I did Psalm 33, 1 through 9, which was 2 days ago. Or 3 days ago. 3 days ago, I did a shorter meditation on scripture so that you could get out. Well, today, this is going to be super short. So if all you do is go for that walk, and I just did it. Actually, I hadn't done it for a couple of years, and it was still as lovely as ever. The walk is 30 minutes really from your door, your threshold, back to your threshold. It's 30 minutes, but there's an intro of about 8 to 10 minutes where you tell God your intention for the walk. What is the reason for doing the walk? And then you stand at your threshold about, I think it's 7.5 minutes into it. So just to give it, and there's music in the background. And then after the 30-minute walk, I think, 30 minutes. It might be even less. Actual walking time might be even less because I can't remember when I turned on my watch. But you have a little bit of time before you walk out the door to kind of meditate, fix your gaze on God. And then you walk, notice things with all your senses. And then there's a little journaling time at the end where you're asked questions. And I might just put the questions in the description for today. So, and then another option, you could do all 4. There's 3, but I'm 3 in my manual actually, but is to listen to, I think a song about creation it's on YouTube, and it's in the playlist for the spiritual exercises right after this 3.7. It's right after, or you can Google it. It's Porter's Gate. Let me look. Porter's Gate. It's by Molly Pardon and Jonathan Ogden. It's called The Promise, and it's about creation. It's lovely. So I suggest doing that. I think it would be, a good way to end your week, just listening to that song. So at as you're gathering the graces, these are some questions. I'll read the first part of the foundation too. We are created to share in God's love and life for eternity. The experience of this love is manifested in our response of praise, reverence, and service. That is, loving God with all our heart, all our mind, and all our will. And so some of the questions for this week you might want to ponder as a conclusion of the week is, what attitudes and actions result in my life when I remember the goal of my life is the praise and service of God? How do prayer and reflection help me to maintain order and priorities in my life? And what is my highest priority? And how does my day reflect my highest priority? And then the second part of that foundation, of part one of the foundation, is how have I marveled at creation this week? So I will piece this video together with an 8-minute video of me walking in nature, and just a little exercise to do. There's the 40-minute one, which I'll give a link to again today, and with the questions that are in the audio. I'll do the link again, but those are questions to think of too, that, as a conclusion of today. So, I know what I was going to say. The 8 minutes is 5 things you see. It's going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It goes through all your senses. See, hear, smell, touch, taste. I usually do taste, one thing you taste, because you're not eating while you're going on a walk. And I do it in PV Arboretum, which is a beautiful arboretum. I did it in November because I was celebrating many years of being cancer-free. So, wow. So, I'll piece these two together and put it up on YouTube. Bye. Okay. It's always about walking with God in nature. For me, it's just so life-giving. This is a beautiful arboretum 10 minutes away from my house. And what I like to do, and one thing that Catherine and I did on the Camino, is that we did the census thing. So we thought, okay, let's look at 5 things we can see. So I'm looking, and I just love sun. Just coming through trees and being on leaves, and it's just so beautiful. I can see if I can see it. Sun dappled leaves. I love that. I hope you can see them up there. Yeah, there they are. The sun dappled leaves. There they are, right there. See, right there. Sun dappled leaves and the sun. I see the sun. And I see all the sun through leaves. I could just go forever with that. So, what are 4 things you hear? First thing I heard were cars on 99. Oh! I hear 2 different birds. There's one. Morning. Good morning. I hear a runner. Crunch, crunch, crunch on the trail. Crunch, crunch, crunchy. There's another bird. I've heard 3 different birds. I wish my husband were here. He always knows what the birds are. And I hear the crunch, crunch, crunch of my feet on the trail. And I heard his crunch, crunch, crunch and his good morning. This little alcove here. Okay, so that's 4 things you can hear. So 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. 3 things you can feel. So I'm going to just go up here and feel that moss on the trees with all the moss on them. We got a lot of those. That's my husband would know the story of that. And then feeling ferns. I hear an airplane too now, going back to hearing. So 3 things. What is that new thing I can feel? Just bark. Feeling the wet bark. So that's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. Keep on hearing more different kinds of birds. 3 things you can feel. Okay, 2 things you can smell. I did not lose my sense of smell when I got COVID, so I smell dirt. I smell dirt. Let's go down. Oh gosh, it's so beautiful. Look at this. I wish I could turn it around. I guess I can. I can just go like this. You don't have to see my face. Hey, I'll smell this moss on this tree. This sun-dappled tree. You know, 2 years ago, I walked through here for 2 hours and I got lost. Okay, I'm gonna smell this. Does that kind of smells like moss. There you go. It smells like moss. And I think I'm just a little bit past its prime because we had a big rainstorm. And I think it knocked down a bunch of the leaves because I know I've gone this week a couple of times and it's just layered everywhere. But isn't this more sun-dappled? And so this next one is kind of hard. I think I might skip it. But what you can taste. So it's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell. I just heard a burp. And then 1 thing you can taste. And I don't think I'm gonna taste anything here. But just enjoying nature. And on top of that, you can stop the video if you want. But on top of that, 2 years ago when I walked through here, I had this horrible conversation with this person. And it was a very negative, person I didn't even know. Just long story. But it was such a negative conversation that I thought, I'm going to do the H.E.A.L principle. And it's, you have an experience, so you have this negative experience, right? I got bullied by this lady on the phone. And so, first of all, it's called H.E.A.L. It's the acronym H.E.A.L, H-E-A.L. And so what I did was I had an experience. I purposely went to this arboretum to walk around and to totally have an experience of really living in the moment of being in this beautiful arboretum. I mean, you can't. I mean, really. So I walked for 2 hours, had it. I experienced it fully with all my senses, and then I even absorbed it even more. I mean, I just had this experience. And then I linked it to that negative experience that I had with the bully on the phone. And what was so awesome is now, every time it's healing. I think it's kind of like EMDR. I don't really know EMDR very well, but I know it's you link things. So this is linking that bully experience, that's the L, to
your positive experiences. And I like to say experience of God in nature. I just had a lot of time with God, just kind of processing and experience. So every time I think about that negative bullying experience, I think about a wonderful walk in PV Arboretum. Have a great